I love you, Heartworm.
Oh my.
Yo, what's up? This is Tyrone with another episode of AutisHim, Black Fathers and Autism. Like I said before, my name is Tyrone. I got the fellas here with me. Iwit is with the family right now, hanging out. You know how that is. We got family duty, so that comes first. But what we're going to be talking about this episode is we're going to be talking about summer transitions, things to do or how we keep our kids on this consistent schedule in the summertime once they get out of school. We all know that's pretty tough. So to jump off the conversation, we're gonna start with Trav. Trav, so what are some of the things that you're gonna be doing with your son to try to help him stay consistent with a schedule in the summer? And what are some things that you know you're not so sure of?
Yeah, definitely. Appreciate that, Ty. I'm excited. It's the end of my son's first grade year tomorrow. So what we're doing is we're trying to keep him on a schedule. That's what's important in our family. Routine is key. For most autistic children, from my perspective, I'm pretty sure my colleagues can agree as well. So of course, we're gonna have a little fun this weekend as we kind of head into the summer season. But my son attends summer camp in the summertime. I feel it's very important for him to have other kids that he could bond with as well as stay active. I feel like a lot of these days, not just autistic children, but just children in general aren't going outside enough. Like it's so much opportunity and so much to do outside. I feel like that's very important, just to keep our kids not only thriving, but keep them, healthy and fit as well. We don't want our kids to kind of go to the wayside, but definitely summer camp is going to be key. Another big thing I like to do is travel with my family. So we have some vacations lined up, but it's very important that we're going to have that balance for him so that he could continue his development. And I would say just from the prior year where he had his first year of summer camp, his speech and development got much better. So just my advice to parents out there, I know you may be nervous. You're not really sure what it's going to entail any summer camp, but from my experience, it did improve his conversation piece. He was able to have more conversations with not just children around his age, but adults like myself and his mother as well. So don't be scared to take that jump and definitely find a daycare or summer camp that's, within budget, but it's also going to be convenient for your work schedule because we don't see summer unless it's the weekend. We don't have summertime. That's been gone since we was about 18. So definitely, I'm a big advocate for summer camp until, you get your kids back into the fall school year. And we're gonna go ahead and pass it over to Nick and see what he thinks.
So what's going on, everybody? I think Trevor's right. So this summer, my son is going to go to a camp that has that expresses his interest. My son is interested in Legos and building, so he's going to have the opportunity to go to a Lego camp this year, and we're going to get up the same time, like Travis said, creating that routine. Get up the same time, get him ready, get him at his camp the same time school would start, and pick him up from his camp around the same time school will end, and still maintaining the activities outside of his school that outside of camp. So as the summer goes and that transition happens, the only thing that really changes is the location of his quote unquote school day. And so even though this summer we have some other plans in place, it is definitely one of those things that we have to keep a routine. But I will give you this tip: summer camp should not be a last minute thing. Like, we plan summer camp in our family. We start looking at summer camps, no lie. We start looking at summer camps at the beginning of the year. So after the holiday season, you just got, you may be able to wait till MLK Day to start looking, but January, late January, early February, we start looking at summer camps. Here's the deal: the earlier you start looking at summer camps, the more choices and options you have. So if you need to save up for a summer camp and summer camps can be a whole bunch of money. So listen, I'm listen, I'm counting my pennies and quarters like everybody else. So if you need to save up for summer camp, at least you know in January or February how much you need by April or May to be able to send your child to the camp of their choosing. And then some summer camps have a discount for early enrollment and for if you have multiple children. Some summer camps have discounts for multiple children. So you may have to pay full price for the first, but get something off 10%, 5%, 20%, whatever that camp may be for your other child if they're all attending the same camp. So plan early with your summer camp, especially when it comes to having a child that's on a spectrum. You want to know what their life is going to look like as far in advance as possible, not just for your own planning, but for their planning too. So if there is going to be a change, in my experience, allowing my son to know about that change as early as possible helps get him geared up mentally for that transitions. And because he's gone to this Lego camp before, it's not as hard of a move for him because he knows the environment, he knows the people there. So if I had to give a piece of advice, it would be plan early to help everybody prep. Lonnie, what you think?
I'll be honest with you. I'm nervous about camp. like, but my kids are going to a camp later this summer, but I'll be at the camp too. So I'm kind of like, I'm gonna be there participating, doing a chess session at the camp. So my kids will be there. It'll be their first summer camp, so I think that would be good. But this has been the first week out of school for my kid, and for the summer, he's been struggling. I won't lie. I've never seen him like this. He's like, you know, really having a difficult time, not having that schedule, not having that regimen. I give you an example. It's 8:30. He like it's bedtime. We could be mid video game, mid anything. 8:30 hit. He gone. He ain't saying good. He's like that's his schedule. So I'm trying to like relax, man. Let's hang out, watch a movie. Like you crazy. So it's I'm kind of surprised that this it hit him so hard this week. It caught me off guard a little bit. This been I thought we could have fun and relax. So his school actually runs a summer camp. We looked at, but it was as much as tuition. I'm like, this summer camp is like another. This is like summer camp should be like not this. So we might look into that. They have different sections this summer for that particular his school camp. We might try and put him in that for a couple weeks just to help him with the regimen and schedule because he been on struggle this week. He been walking around limping, talking about his bones and joints hurt, his ankle. Ain't nothing wrong with him, but he doesn't know how to capture what he's feeling in words. He's kind of like, almost low key depressed. Like, where's my friends? Where's this and all that? And so we did have a pool party for him Saturday, which was nice. We had a lot of fun at, and so we've been trying to explain to him, invite a friend over, invite one friend over for play day. He wants to invite 9, 10 people at one time. And we're like, come on, man, just invite one. So
Hey, you open the door, pops. Hey,
we losing that fight with him, trying to explain to him, 1 or 2 people is cool. That's easy, but you host a lot of people. It's like a lot of work. I got to clean the house up. I got to, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So are these overnight camps or just day camps your kids are going to?
Mine is a day camp.
Day camp, yeah, just typical. Okay. I think it starts around 7:30, out at like 4:30. I don't know too many overnight camps. I'm not really, to be honest, I'm not sure if I'm ready for an overnight camp yet.
Yeah, I'm not either. I'm not ready for an overnight camp myself. I think when we're talking about like that routine, my son sleeping in another place without his parents. Huge adjustment. And so I definitely am not sure about an overnight camp. I have a feeling that if that is the case, he would be like, I want to go home. Like I'm waiting for my parents to come pick me up because he's accustomed to his parents coming and picking him up. Like that's his thing. He hasn't even stayed over somebody's house unless it was family without us. So that's a big deal. But for that, and I think it's that routine and that comfort level. Like It's 8:30. It's 8:30. Let's go to bed. It's time to go to bed. I've been going to bed at 8:30, so it's time to go to bed. So I think we just got to do whatever we can as parents to try to make it as easy as possible because it's already a challenging world for them, not seeing it the same way that most people do. So
Yeah.
I just try to keep him on the same schedule, trying to do this. I am still thinking about the changes in his schedule the slight changes that can kind of throw him off. But I'm hoping. Let me say it that way. I'm hoping it's not going to be like a big deal. But that that routine is necessary. Ty, what you think?
Dude, so I don't mean to be the eyeball, like, because you already know where I'm probably about to go, but my son's school offers a camp as well, and my wife and I was really into putting them in the camp, and then we discovered that the individuals running the camp are not the individuals that are with my son and teaching my son. So when we found that out, I was like, "Yep, that ain't gonna happen." So, and my wife was on board. Now, I'm not telling fathers out there to do what me and my wife are doing because I do think that there is positivity in getting your kid around, especially adults who are going to be looking after him in the camp. You be around different people. There will be some of his friends at the camp. I just ran into a father today that my son's friend's father, and I've only met him twice. It's my second time meeting him, but he told me today that he's putting his son in the camp, which I thought was awesome. But when he was saying that in my mind, I'm like, man, did I mess up? Like, did I mess up by not putting my son in this camp? And then I came back to reality, like, no, I did the right thing. So we not there yet. My wife and I, we ain't there yet. We're just putting them in camps and just say, all right, we see you in, several hours. We ain't there, especially if we don't know the adults, if he hasn't really spent time with the adults. And again, I'm not telling fathers or families to do this. I'm just saying what we're comfortable with. Now, what I will say is that he had a field day yesterday at the school, and this is the first time we had actually been without him for like hours, right? So he went on a field day at his school. They asked us to do some some work in the school. They were trying to organize some stuff. So we're like, yeah, we'll help out while he goes plays. And he went and played, man. He had a ball, man. He had a very good time. As a matter of fact, I think he might have been upset that we came back. Like, so yeah, right, exactly. So, we're not gonna do camp this summer, but we are gonna put him in some other stuff. So we are starting boxing. He's gonna do some boxing. And then we also, he knows how to swim a little bit, but we're going to get him in some adaptive swimming classes. And for people that don't know what adaptive swimming classes is, it's different than just swimming classes, right? So they specialize with kids with special needs to teach them how to swim, how to save their life. So we're going to be doing that with him this summer as well. We're going to try to add some more things, but I think the two things like the boxing and the swimming is probably going to be enough for him. I don't want to overload him this summer either to where he's just like, okay, Dad, that's enough. So we're gonna start off with those two things. But how do y'all feel about that, man? Like y'all clearly trust, the adults that your kids is going with.
I told you I'm gonna be at the camp with my kids.
Right.
I'm gonna be there.
Right.
And then I got a confession though. So my son, every field trip he's ever had, we've been on. The parents can go. So this year he went to the governor's mansion right by the school. It was cool. So they visit Marbles Museum. By his school, I'm in the parking lot the whole time. I'm in the car, like, is he good? Is my phone ringing? They gonna call me? Is he doing good? And I'm like, am I a stalker? I was in the car like half a day, checking on my baby. Like, can I sneak in? Do I don't go in? Don't. So, look, I'm with you, Ty. I'm like, I ain't there yet all the way yet. I'm hedging my bets.
Well, and see, for me, I don't know. It's different for me. My son's been going to this summer camp for like 4 years. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? And even when he's not in summer camp, he goes there because they offer like weekend camps or weekend, like a couple hours on the weekend. So, so my son has been there during the school year, outside of the school year. As a matter of fact, this up and coming weekend, they have a workshop and then they have a parents' night out. And so back to back. So yes, he is signed up for both of them. So he'll be there, for the workshop as well as parents' night out, which gives my wife and us a chance to, be a couple again. So I think it works for us because he's been there. It's an environment he's already accustomed to. But it opens up a door of like how soon and on what level does your child need to be independent when it comes to like figuring out the world from an autistic perspective? Like how do we like ease and transition to allow our children to do some things on their own? Like do we wait till they're older? Are we like, looking at it from a maturity standpoint? All of our children are different, but are we holding on too tight when it comes to being parents of children, especially boys with autism?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's really what it is, to be honest. Like I said, I'm 50-50. To Lonnie and Ty's point, I get it as far as like, making sure that they're around individuals that they're familiar with and they know. But on the other hand, as well, I feel that it's important to expose our children to new people, because it's going to happen whether we wanted to or not. You can't choose their next teacher, or whoever they're going to deal with. That's not your choice. So you have to make sure they know that change is going to be constant. But I struggle with that as well. My wife is definitely a little more escalated than me. She's been to the school, she's been on field trips. Where me, I'm more so just, hey, keep me posted. My cell is open if needed, and I'm hoping that the right thing is going to happen. And in that sense, you just gotta pray and wish for the best. A question I have for you guys, though, as far as like the communication, if your children are going into camp or just any activity, even if it's your kids going into swimming, Ty, how do you communicate with that instructor or those counselors that your child is on the spectrum, for those who may not know how to take that step? Because some people may be new to this. I know myself personally, when my son started camp for the first time last year, it was still a bit of a uncomfortable topic to really explain to others versus where I'm at currently. So how would you explain, or how do you plan to explain to those that will be responsible for your children this summer?
So I think it depends on the situation. So with this swimming class, because it's adaptive swimming, we have to fill out, and they're like really top notch. So we have to fill out a form that lets them know, like, hey, this is my son's diagnosis and any other information that may go along with that. So they specialize in that. So they're already going in with the mindset like, okay, we know that we had this kid here who's on the spectrum. So we have to, think about how we're going to address them and handle them a little bit differently. I think if you're going into a situation where it's not adaptive swimming, it's just like regular swimming, or it's something else, it just you have to, it just depends on the situation, man. For any fathers out there that are just putting their kid in regular swimming courses, I think you need to tell the instructor like, hey, this is, my son is on the spectrum, because the way they handle your kid could be a life or death situation. So yeah, Trav, I think for me in any situation, it just kind of depends. I never want to lead off with that in most cases from me, because I don't want, even though I know that my son is on the spectrum, I don't want that to say that's the only thing that defines him, is him being on the spectrum. So it just depends for me. Like if he plays sports, and the thing is, it's crazy because when he did play sports, I was his coach. I would let nobody else coach him. So I gotta, I'm still trying to come out of that. I gotta let other people kind of, take the reins and help him out. But to answer your question, Trav, I think it just depends on the situation. Nick, what you think?
I'm gonna be honest. I lead with it. My thing about it is, I would rather you have the information you need to have in order to deal with my son. Because here's the deal: if I tell you at the onset that my son has ASD and ADHD, and then a situation occurs, I told you. Like, my expectation is that once I tell you this, that your team, your place of business, whatever, can handle what comes along with my son being on the spectrum and having ADHD. If you can't handle it, if this is not in your repertoire, let me know at the beginning so I have enough time to move on to
Yep.
someone else that can handle it. So is it the very first thing I say? Probably not, but it is one of the first things that I say is like, how do you all deal with children that are on the spectrum, have autism or ADHD? Do you have experience with those? All of the places that my son attends, be it karate, be it his Lego camp, we have all said and asked them of their experience dealing with children that have ADHD, autism, or whatever. And in every occasion that my son has been in, that has been the case. So without somebody at least having the experience, nah, we can't do that. So
Yeah.
I definitely have to make sure that they have that experience in their belt.
Here's the other thing too, though. I'm through my graduate work, we had to we host parent training, and they had kids there. And the kids were on the spectrum. Well, I didn't know some of the kids eloped, so we had to stay by the door when the kid. You had to, it was like by the end of the training, we sweating. We've been chasing kids, following and keeping an eye on them. So I don't know how your kids are. If your kid have roam or elope or go off, you gotta be on top of that. So it's a safety reason, especially around water. If your kid take off, they gotta know. So I think it can help, especially if your kid is known to take off. So
Well, so with that being said, I mean, going back to the whole summer, how did you get to that point? Because I haven't gotten there yet. So, like for maybe it's like Nick, Trav, even Lonnie, how did you get to the point where you felt somewhat comfortable with your kid leaving your sight for several hours? Like, how did you get to that place? Because you got a lot of fathers or just families in general who are not there, like myself. I'm like, I ain't there yet. So how do you get there? What steps do you take? Do you pray on it? Are you meditating? Like, what are you
God,
doing to
you
get to
gotta,
that point?
you gotta jump in, my brother. It's
Yeah.
simple as that. Especially with the lifestyle that most of us have. We have careers, we have family to tend to, and it's just you have to go with the flow. Sometimes you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. I think that's the best way to put it. And then to a point, you can control that circumstance. But if it's working, then the adjustment should come along. Just kind of relating back to my son's situation, he's blessed to have the same counselors and people around him that he has during the school year. They just have an extension program, so it works out. But the relationship building is going to be very key to getting comfortable and asking questions and making sure they know you. That's one thing I'm big on, is making sure they know who I am. Not trying to go in there like Debo, trying to, move and shake furniture. That's not what I'm trying to do. I just want them to understand that I'm a communication piece and I'm here to help. In times where my son was having troubles or hard times, I would get phone calls, and we even have side meetings. I was the only parent going up there, me and my wife, having pretty much like a parent teacher conference for a summer camp. You would think like, let that kid have fun, but it's also important that he's having fun the right way, and also that there are no situations in which he's putting anybody in harm as well. So that communication is going to be key to your growth as well.
I mean, and then okay. I'll say this. Back when I was in grade school, I had an art teacher who said, "A little dab will do you." And so sometimes it's just introducing your son to that environment for a half an hour with you not being there, to 45 minutes with you not being there, to an hour with you not being there, to a couple of hours since you not being, and then you like work your way up. And so if your child is accustomed to being in that place without you, then when it comes time for camp to roll around, you have grown in your comfort level. Your child has grown in their comfort level with being away. And for that first, 2, 3 times, if you want to do like Lonnie did and sit out in your car, sit out in your car for that first couple times until you feel comfortable. But I think if we start putting our kids in the same environments, that they enjoy. And I think that's a key part to it as well. That's a huge part to it, is giving your child something or having some type of camp around something that they really like. So hypothetically, if you know your child likes rocket ships and you find a space camp, like see if they have, some type of, drop-in services throughout the school year before summer starts, so your child can get accustomed to that space camp arena. And if they don't, like the first couple of days, take the day off if you can, and wait for take a couple hours off and wait to see how your child adjusts. I just think, in my son's perspective and from my perspective, it's just trying to ease them into these new transitions as much as you possibly can. So if they can spend time before summer camp in that space, then allow them to do so. And especially, like Trav said, letting them know, like, my child's on the spectrum, but I am here as his parent. Contact me, call me. This is who I am. Recognize these faces. We are active parents.
Yeah, you we used to go see a developmental pediatrician, and it took, first of all, it took months to get in there because the appointments were so backed up. But one thing he said that stuck with me was a lot of parents, in the interest of protecting their kids, limit them. So all kids get practice communicating, practice learning at the playground, at the parks and whatnot. And we tend to like keep our kids in the house or more sheltered so they don't get as much practice because they might run off, because they might be in, some parents are embarrassed by their kids. And so what happens is, we further limit our child's development by not giving them those experiences. And so I've been guilty of that too. So I'm trying to branch out. But on the other hand, we went to my kids' arcade today, and he and her talking to everybody and inviting people to play games with him and whatnot. And he a little bit too forward sometimes, so I gotta help him ease into it. Like, you say hi like this, not in their face. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's that practice piece, getting them more and more comfortable, more and more experience. But it's something to be said about, I mentioned this before, finding like support people, teachers, even like tutors, piano teachers, whatever, who just click with your child. Finding someone who you can like, so you always go, you're kind of tense. You're like, oh Lord, is this gonna go good? This is gonna work. But when you find somebody who just click with your kid, you can relax a little bit. And so we've had a lot of success with people who click with him, and some who don't, but we know immediately, they ain't gonna work with him because they ain't got the patience. He don't like him for some reason. So I think it's about finding people who you feel they get your kid, and your kid is like, safe with them.
So Lonnie touched on this earlier. I want to get you guys, Trav and Nick on this. Lonnie, you said your son, basically 8:30 roll around. He's on that school schedule. He's like, yo, I got to go to bed. I'm interested to know, Nick and Trav, like my son, now that it's summertime, he like, yo, Dad, I need another half hour on staying up. So as my son slick with it, he like, yeah, well, he said, okay, so yeah, let me get another half hour, Dad. And I'm like, I don't know. So have your kids tried that yet or said anything, or they know bedtime is bedtime?
Me personally,
Go ahead,
no.
Trav.
No. My son he knows. It's funny, before I came into the show today, it was a bit past 7:00, and he's like, Dad, it's 7:00. I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna have time. I'm like, I know we're gonna be a little late. No, but I have to get there. It's like he knows his time, which I love though, because that's what me and my wife work to condition him on a schedule, because that's what's gonna, help him out. Do I have to work a bit on flexibility? Yes, I'll be honest. But the only time he has asked stay up, maybe we do movie Fridays just to build culture. To the fathers, even mothers out there, it's very important to build culture with your family and find something that's going to stick, especially with your autistic children, because they have great memories. They do not forget. So do not overpromise, underdeliver. Try to keep that culture, that thing that keeps the family going. It's not going to be easy, but typically on a movie night, if the movie does go past the typical bedtime, we'll just kind of let it roll, because we don't want to cut a movie and it not get the bonding time. But for the most part, my son is pretty good with his schedule, and it helps things flow.
Now, for me, my son is now. I'm gonna be honest. I'm telling, not gonna lie on my boy. My son is supposed to be in bed between 7 and 7:30, but I also know that when my son goes up to his room, he is reading or drawing to help put him to go to sleep. So my son, and one night, he got attracted to this book called, and I'm gonna say it because it's a black author, Future Hero. My son, the first Future Hero, he got attracted to that joint. He read the first 9 chapters in one night
Wow.
because he got into it. He came down the next night. We normally read story time together. He was already on chapter 10. Yeah, we're going to start on chapter 10. I said, well, what happens in the first? Yeah, I read those last night. And I found my son falling asleep. He has his own little kids encyclopedia, a whole bunch of pictures and stuff in it. I found my son falling asleep reading his little kids encyclopedia. So, I try to balance my son get going to sleep, but and doing some of these things to help him because he can be up late sometimes trying to do that. But the routine of from when he gets home from whatever learning environment he's in to his bed is kind of the same routine. Like you may have, a little bit off when he goes to karate versus the days he doesn't go to karate because that's after school. But like we have a system, and that system really doesn't change over the summer. So he kind of knows he's supposed to go to bed. But I promise you, if we took a day and did not say anything about his routine, he would want to stay up. So I also have to remember my son just isn't autistic. My son also has ADHD.
Mhm.
So his mind is still running. His mind is still going, even though he's supposed to be going to sleep, which is one of the reasons why we allow him to be in his room, in his bed, doing some of those things, because we know his mind is still running, it's still going, and we would rather him be doing something constructive. He'll draw every vehicle he knows. He just drew an RV yesterday, and so he'll do those things, and we allow him to do those things not just because he has autism, but also because he has ADHD, and so he still needs to get some of that energy out before he goes to sleep. And running around necessarily isn't always he's not always able to do that at late because we have neighbors and they live kind of close. So we have to find some constructive things to do. But I want to ask this question: what do you all think about what society calls the summer slump for your children, as your children are outside of a traditional educational environment, whether it's homeschooling, whether it's traditional school or private school or whatever? What do you all think about how the summer slump, or if the summer slump is a part of your summer because they're not in their current or normal learning environment?
Ain't no summer slump over here.
I know that's right.
I'm Dennis Rodman in the paint. I'm hard in the paint. Tonight they had Japanese and Spanish.
I know
We
that's
ain't
right.
playing. We got reading, we got math, we got full curriculum. We might take Mandarin next month. I don't play. We stay ready. So
Stay ready. You ain't gotta get ready.
Yeah, it just
I
helps
agree.
with the flow. Yeah, man. Go ahead, Ty.
I was just gonna say, I love the school that my son goes to, man, because his special education teacher, because he has his regular teacher and then special education teacher, and she literally loaded him up. She had this thick packet and was like, "Hey, I know you gonna be mad, but I'm giving you this anyway." And she gave it right to him, put it right in his chest, like, boom. I expect you to do all of this over the summer. And I'm in the background like, he is. He's going to do it for sure. He's doing it. So he's, yeah, right. No, she was on it, man. So I'm excited because I think this is the first time this summer where we're going to really, really hit a lot of learning things really, really hard because even though he did very well this semester, there was things that he needs to work on in order for him to be caught up where he needs to be for the following grade. So we definitely hitting that hard. Go ahead, Trey. I didn't mean to
Man,
cut you off.
you better think twice. That boxing, you might catch a loss. You might hold on now. Y'all, it's karate and boxing stuff. Y'all better be careful.
Right. Yeah, no, it's important to teach your child to protect themselves, but I get it because then they might think they could buck up on you. But that's a different conversation. The summer slump is real, man. I remember being a kid, man. My parents like it's summertime, just stay out of trouble. I'd be up 3, 4 in the morning playing PlayStation, Xbox, watching all the TV, and then I didn't have any responsibilities really as a kid, so I'm getting up 11, 12 o'clock, do it all again, you know. But of course, we went outside back in the day. Now it feels like you gotta pull some teeth sometimes. My son does like to be active outside, which I'm so appreciative of. I've seen otherwise in some other households, but yeah, the summer slump is real. I hate that it still exists, man, because it's just like outside is free. You know, you paying for these kids Roblox and letting them run your credit card up on the inside, and you know they need to be. I'm an advocate of running in and out of the house. Remember where your mom and dad say, "Stop swinging my door, my screen door." I'm an advocate of swinging the door.
You running my bill up. We got the AC on.
See on.
Dude, so and how can I ask this? Okay, so I made it a point because today my son was his award ceremony, right? So all the grade levels, the school that he's in, they have elementary and middle school. They don't have a high school, but they gave out all the awards to all the kids, right? So I made it a point to track down like other kids, like parents, to make sure my kid has like a social life this summer, right? Because with him doing the virtual online, he goes to the school, like I said, twice a month, every so often, but he's not getting the social aspect that he needs. So I made it a point to track down like parents to say, hey, and I wasn't like aggressive with it. I was just like, hey, what's going on? Like real friendly, like, hey, what's up? My sons, I'll talk about your kid a lot. They're like, oh yeah, we love him, and then we exchange information and so on and so forth. I wanted to ask you guys, Lonnie talked about, his kid inviting the whole block over. I just wanted to know, how do you guys, are you just depending on, I know it's a part of it, you got the camps, right? So they're going to socialize there. But outside of camp, how do you guys keep that social engagement going?
I'm gonna tell you the truth. We have what's called a dyad with his ABA therapist, or BCBA. I'm sorry, his BCBA. And so, for the parents that may not know what a BCBA is, I just Google it because I don't remember the whole words right now. So we do a dyad with another family where the other child is also on the spectrum. And with my son is on the spectrum, they're learning how to deal with other children together. And so they're learning with their personal relationship as well as learning with other children. So the two families will get together and go to the park. And so we could go to different parks in our area within, driving distance or whatever. And our kids will play together, and sometimes they will play with some other children, and they get to running around. And so with our BCBA, she's there to help navigate the conversation because my son still has challenges socially. So, and trying to learn how to play with other kids and trying to learn how to communicate with other kids and looking at things from different perspectives and how do you deal with another child when you want to do something and they want to do something else and all of those things. So I think from a social perspective, he is getting the that social interaction through his camp. But once again, like I said, they also have weekend stuff. So he goes, to that same place for the weekend, which could have different children in it. But we also do the dyads. which is more controlled social learning, social environment, so that as my son grows older, he's developing an understanding of some of the social cues, even though he may not get it all, because autism is a lifelong thing. ADHD is a lifelong thing. So hopefully he can develop the tools that he needs to be able to continue to interact in the space. So that's what we trying to do.
Um, I don't know. I'm thinking, kind of forgetting the question right now, but I'm reminded of something else. Is that as far as like my son and where he's at, the part that still surprises me sometimes is his splinter skills. So he's really good at certain things and not good at other things. And like, as he's going through school and making these friendships, socializing and whatnot, um, sometimes he's impressive. He can do well. Other times he can't. He doesn't do as well, and it could like change his whole mood, his whole disposition. He can like all of a sudden he can't keep up, or you know what I mean. Like sometimes he'll just zone out. He'll be doing his own thing, or you know what I mean. And so during his little get together over the weekend, he was engaged and he got mad at one point. They were playing water balloons. He was tired of water balloons. He kept getting hit. And he didn't like that. And so, but he recovered well. And so helping him deal with that frustration is something I'm trying to, I was impressed, but also kind of surprised at some of the challenges he still has. I thought he was further along with this group of friends. But then again, he invited everybody on his own. And so I think it's about that practice, and I think one of my goals is to improve more opportunities for him to interact with other kids and more play stuff. Because for me, I kind of don't like hanging out with parents. You know, what I mean? I'm kind of like a hermit. You know what I'm saying? So part of that is me. I'm gonna have to get out of my shell to increase social opportunities, if that makes sense, right? Because my wife leads on that as far as play dates and other stuff, and I'm gonna have to be like, oh Lord. I'm in there sweating, nervous. I'm like,
Yep, me too.
I'm sweating like
Me
Whitney
too.
Houston. Come on now, I ain't got. So I got to work on that for myself to increase his health.
That's another topic we can get on too, about how us being older, adults, how we make friends, because it's hard to make friends as older adults, man. It really is. But that's another conversation we get to another time. Trav, what about you, man? What's some of the things you're gonna do besides the camp to keep your kids socially engaged?
So luckily, my son is very social, and people tend to gravitate to him. Whether it be we're just out at Costco and he's reading the greeters or the workers' name tag, he'll talk to them like he knows them personally. Like, "How you doing, Sandy?" And then they talk to him back. It just happens like that. Sometimes a little too friendly, just kind of going back to the, "All right, okay, that's cool," because you never know. Some people are a bit weird these days. But my son is very lucky to have a social piece that's getting better, in which he can talk to others, ask others if they want to participate with him. He actually just attended a splash pad party this past weekend and did really well. It was funny because, and you guys can, agree with me on this. We sit back with our wives, and sometimes we just gotta let them go. Me and my wife are just sitting there, like kind of on edge, kind of ready to go. Like some pop off, we going. Look, you don't want to, but it's just funny because we both just observing. We both like, man, we really just letting him do his thing. And he out there having fun, socializing, asking to take turns, good manners. Running a little bit too much. He almost ran into a couple people, but a quick conversation just to kind of level set. That's all we had to do. But he did awesome communicating. And then to the parent piece, we actually spoke with the little girl's mom and kind of told her about our situation. And she was happy to have us, and it went really well. So am I looking forward to kids' birthday parties? Probably not. But am I excited for my kids' development and to be able to be social with others? Yes. And I'm not so sure I'm ready for sleepovers yet. That was another conversation me and my wife had. I'm just not 100% on my son, especially being on the spectrum, spending a night at an individual I'm not 100% familiar with. So for now, we're going to just stick to the family piece, just to keep not only him grounded, but our peace of mind as well.
I agree with you, man. So listen, before we get up out of here, just want to go around real quick, get everybody a last chance to give advice to the families about how to keep your kid from going through the summer slump and how to keep them engaged. So we're gonna start off with Nick. Nick, last thing you want to say, brother?
Just try to do things over the summer that your child enjoys. I think that's number one, with the summer, be it summer camp, be it the work that they do. If your child enjoys, coloring, see if there's an art camp that allows them to color. If your child enjoys athletics, see if there's an athletic camp that you can attend for your child. I think at the end of the day, whether your child is on the spectrum or not, try to put them in something where they are enjoying it, as well as try to do your level best as a parent to keep them from sliding too far in this quote unquote summer slump. There are plenty of books, workbooks, online services that you could possibly find and use to aid in that summer slump not taking place. We work in workbooks inside of the summer and during the school year. So, but I think those types of things, doing what a child enjoys, as well as throwing some education in there, can really help with the summer.
Go ahead, Trav. What advice you got?
I got three things. Number one, limit screen time. That is
Yes.
very big, and that's going to determine a lot. Second thing, take them kids outside. Spend time outside yourself. Get some sun. Soak it up. Enjoy it. And third thing is travel. You do not have to break the bank to travel. I think that's a big thing. A lot of people feel like, oh, we have to go to Disney World. We have to go to Los Angeles. No. Check out stuff in your local state. There's so much stuff going on. Traveling can be literally just going to another city just to go to a carnival. Like, get out, make your kid experience different stuff, and make sure that they're getting the culture and the appreciation to be able to be somewhere to a point where they're like, man, I've done a lot. Because I feel like that's, as an adult, when I get older, I can look back and say, man, I traveled and went a lot of different places during the summer, and I want to continue that for my children as well.
Yeah. We're big in the workbooks. At the first grade workbook, second grade, each year we get those workbooks. Over the summer, we work them. I mentioned the foreign language earlier. We're big on out school. We're always playing around, exposing them different languages, different cultures, different things online as far as out school is concerned. Had a lot of success with that. But I would second that screen time. My kids get too much screen time. It completely messes with them up. Their whole attitude, disposition's off. It's like a drug almost. So we go hard in the paint as far as work is concerned. We get a lot of work done every day because my son will lose his math skills. He'll lose certain reading skills if we don't each week do maintenance on them. So I have to do math sheets. I have to do maintenance from division, multiplication, and whatnot, because he'll lose some of that. But that's my advice. Get a workbook. Work through the workbook. It can be fun. So I work hard with them, but we have a lot of fun too. We got a couple trips and vacations planned this summer.
All right, and what I'll say is, if you're a father out there or just, a mother or whoever, step outside your comfort zone, man. Connect with other adults that have kids on the spectrum and not on the spectrum. Our kids need that social interaction, and they need to make sure that they're getting a healthy dose of social. They gotta socialize, man, and don't be like me and not have the kids go to camp. Let them kids go to camp. Let them be great. And it's going to be all right. I know I'm giving advice that I'm not following, but listen, be better than me and just make sure you get your kid out there. But yeah, man, I would say just step outside your comfort zone and, connect with other parents. I know it's hard because, like I said before, it's hard being an adult and connecting with parents, but you got to try, man. You definitely got to try. And also, next video, make sure I get my lighting right because, like, I'm fresh out of heaven. So anyway, This is AutisHim, Black Fathers and
I love
Autism,
you,
and we
Heartworm.
out.